Hi everyone and welcome to a slightly different video for Stalker Gamma today. Now, a lot of people have asked in the comments about armor and weapons and things like that in the game and what's the best. And it's a really difficult thing to pin down because there are a lot of these items in the game and I'm not sure that I have a complete list available to me anywhere. What you're seeing on screen now is a Google Doc sheet that was made by Rockstar. And he's over on the official Gamma Discord. Now, this is, as far as I'm aware, a complete list of armor. However, I can't be certain of that. I'm just assuming that is indeed the case. But I know that there is a weapons list as well, which we will go into in a different video. But again, that is definitely incorrect and incomplete because it even says so on the link to it. I'll link all these down below in the description so you can have a look yourself anyway, as that's going to be what you really need to do. But this spreadsheet is great. So not only does it have a full armor list available, a helmet list, it also has basic armor repair instructions, basic armor maintenance instructions. It has a little RF receiver triangulation thing, so you know when you get those RF receiver stashes that you have to find, that'll help you do that. And it has a work in progress repair cost breakdown system. It's basically a pricing breakdown of each of the items you can buy to repair armor. Now, my plan is simply to have a little look at the armor list. I'm going to start with helmets because helmets are quite straightforward. So let's have a quick look on this spreadsheet. There you go. Helmets, really straightforward. There aren't a lot of them in the game at the end of the day, and every faction shares them. So it's not like each faction has their own set like they do the armor. Here, everything is the same. So you have a predetermined list of helmets, and basically you're looking for the best ones which are at the bottom there. And as you can see, they clearly just get better as they go up. You have to look out for stuff like radiation resistance and psychic resistance, because some will be better than others. Like here you can see that this one, if I just highlight that across there, the ACH7 headgear set, Chemical 1, Radiation 2, Psych 17, that's really good for Psych. Whereas the EX, which is the one that I have currently, has 21 Radiation, and 17 Psych. So that's much better. And then there'll be the odd one, for example, down here you've got two different ones. You've got the Apocalypse Helm, which is only 9% Psychic, but then you've got the Spartan Helmet, which is 26% Psychic. But in general, the BR class just increases with them, along with the basic price of these items. And then, for me, you're mainly looking for radiation and psych resistance when it comes to a helmet. So, obviously, the best by far is this one. Obviously, it's got decent chemical resistance as well, and it has the highest in terms of the BR class, and indeed the highest ballistic resistance. But you can't go wrong with any of these at the top, really, can you? I mean, the weakest one is probably... I mean, it's got to be these two. The Sphere M12 and the Apocalypse Helm, because they've got such low psych resistance, and really you probably want better psych resistance. Exo Helm's pretty good. But, you know, it's about what you find in the game. You're not necessarily going to find the Apocalypse Helm and the Spartan Helm straight away, but eventually you will. But there's less there to find. Okay. Pretty straightforward. Helmets, great. Let's have a look at the full armor list. This thing is huge. Okay? Obviously there's some for every faction. And then down at the bottom, I think there's some that are just unknown. So that they don't even belong to any faction. There's just extra ones. And this is where the difficulty comes in, because as you can see, it is just a mess of numbers. You've got to take into account so much stuff, and it seems to vary so much from piece to piece. Generally speaking, the higher the base value, the better the armor, the better the BR class, etc, etc, etc. However, that's not always the case. I mean, generally speaking, the Clear Sky stuff, BR gets better as it goes up. The duty stuff, BR generally gets better as it goes up. There's a little dip down here to 45 for the proto-exoskeleton, but it has very high burn resistance. Not a lot of psychic and very little radiation, so that one's not great. But then it can carry 62 kilograms, the similar amounts to the ones around it. Ecologists, again, you know, proto-skeleton's the best they get, but it's very low BR class. The scientific exoskeleton is better, but it's worth less in its overall pricing. Freedom, I mean, again, this is probably the best, you know, BR class is 72, and 72 is basically the best BR class you get. Loners get very poor quality armors in the grand scheme of things. You're going to have to get something from someone else. The highest they get is an exoskeleton with 59. So yeah, it's adequate, but you can do better. At least it's got decent radiation and psych resistance. Mercenaries down here, you start talking about the mercenary Nozzorog. And this again, you know, 72 BR, 41 radiation, 16 psych. That's pretty good. 67 kilograms to carry, decent across everything else. Military, again, you've got this military Stalker Nozzorog. And again, pretty decent stats across the board, very similar. Monolith, again, has something similar. Renegades just have a Renegade exoskeleton. These guys, Sin, have nothing too exciting. Again, some power armor with very poor radiation and psych resistance. Not that I suppose they need it. And then jumping into Unisig, I mean, they've got the best one there at 74 BR class. That's very similar to the, you know, it is a Nozzorog, isn't it? But whether that's a typo or it's correct that it is 74, I honestly don't know. It also appears to hold more weight because it can take 69 instead of 64. So basically, at the end of the day, when it comes to armor, you're looking to get a Nozzorog, I suppose. That's what you want ideally in the end because it's got the best across the board. Beyond that, it's whatever you find, I guess. I mean, there's a lot to choose from here. But generally speaking, the higher the base value of the item, the better the BR class. And then you're just looking at the other stats to try and mix everything in together. I think that the loner stuff is decent. You know, they get some reasonable stuff with BR classes, but you can't go wrong at the end of the day with getting some kind of Nozzorog off one of the other factions and just ripping the patches off. I've just picked up one of these. I think it's the Iris Guard jumpsuits, which is their lowest level armor, and it actually looks pretty decent. But their best one in terms of BR class isn't scientific exoskeleton, but it's got really poor radiation and psych. Clear Sky, as I say, similar bandits, heisted exoskeleton. They've nicked one. Simple as that. But there's your armor. I mean, go and have a look at the list yourself. Have a sort through it. See how it relates to the in-game. I can't promise you this is perfectly correct, but I'm sure it's somewhere near. So have a look through it yourself. See what you've already got. Maybe think what you might want to get and aim to kill people from that particular group. You know, if you know you want to get a particular mercenary one, go kill mercenaries. Go kill Duty. Go kill Monolith. Whatever. Whoever is your enemy, go kill them. Find yourself a decent piece of armor. Obviously, bearing in mind that the higher the level of the armor here, the bigger the kit you need. So, you know, you will eventually need the heavy armor repair kits, and you will need exoskeleton repair kits and things like that. Just bear that in mind when you're thinking what you would like to get your hands on. The other things here, I'll just quickly click on them because I think it's worth having a look. You've got the basic repair instructions, and I think this is really nicely laid out. It's reasonably straightforward. Obviously, it's all a work in progress. There's not a lot there to it yet, but it gets the point across. Basic armor maintenance, again, you know, there's pictures here, there's little highlighted bits that you can reference to. You know, it should be helpful. if you're just wanting to have a glance at something that's not a video. They've got the RF receiver triangulation on here as well, which I think is really good, really helpful. It just shows you how to find these radio signal stashes and stuff like that. And then this thing is great. I love this. I think I mentioned once in my videos before that I spent like half an hour calculating out what was the best food to buy once. And this is very similar to that. So it shows you all the types of repair kits, how much they cost when you know their base cost, how much you would pay for them if you bought them from a vendor. And then it tells you the repair value, bonus value, etc. And then the cost per percent or the cost per use. Obviously the cost per percent improved is obviously very important, and it really shows off where your money is going and which is actually the best value. By far, emergency armor repair kit is very good value in terms of its percentage cost, but minimum condition is 85%. Something to bear in mind when you're buying this stuff. But I think this is a really great spreadsheet. Absolutely fantastic job to Rockstar. I will also just note down below there is also a link to this spreadsheet. I don't know who made it. I apologize to whoever did the hard work of putting it together, but this is a gamma exchange table, so it's all of the armors that can be exchanged for other armors based on, you know, whether you're loner, bandit, clear sky, duty, freedom, ecologist, mercenary, monolith, military, or unisig. There's all the ones that you can hand in, and here's what you would get in return. Obviously, there is no Nosarog equivalent for loner, bandit, or clear sky, or the ecologists. So if you find one, you're just going to have to use it and rip the badges off it, basically. But there you go. That's, again, a list you should have a look at in your own time, but I'm just putting it here for the reference that it exists. Again, link down below. Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope this was mildly helpful, but it's more about these fantastic spreadsheets that people have made.